Hi there. This is Themes Thursday about Ra, and this I make or made as you listen to it now, right after the Horus one that I was ranting around in. So, because I'm going into sort of hibernation state, I'm going to vision quest a bit. So I do them in advance. Also, I think it's a good idea to come make them maybe in advance. At least some of them, and maybe have some rambly ones more accurate. I don't know, not accurate. What does it say? Like current, or yeah. Anyways, I will not start ramble now. I'll talk about Ra. But I also thought about freedom, and I thought about many things since I was all into rant ramble state. And, when it comes to that also, it's not like I'm saying that for every situation and every person, but freedom still can't really be seen from the outside. I mean, there are those who roam the world, and still they are as trapped as ever in their mindset and in themselves, Not so uncommon, I think. But there are those, let's say, that live in a monk cell or whatever. They're totally liberated and happy. So I mean, yeah, when it comes to that, I don't know if you always choose, but you choose a lot, though. Yeah, and this I choose. And also I thought about another thing. This whole fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. I don't agree with that, though. Well, if someone fooled you, it's shame on them all the fucking time. But I'm sorry, I now start to swear again. I'm still in the right rant. It's too hot out, I think. I get like this then. But yeah. Anyways, I think I've been fooled more than once, I guess. Also by the same one sometimes. So that might be maybe the reason. But I've learned some things. I hope I have. And one of the things that I have had a hard time to learn, but still there now, is that I don't really owe anyone any explanations whatsoever. Also because it only is draining. Sometimes you want to, for example, whatever, small things. But when it comes to certain things, it will only be you trying over and over, and they will maybe even hear you less and less the more you try to, I don't know, prove yourself or whatever the case would be. So it's just a waste of breath, or waste. For example, when it comes to those who won't, like, when I'm still in this rant state, although I read a little bit about Horus there, that was kind of fun reading, to me anyways, or interesting also. Oh, now it's done, I will upload that then. Do I now lose track on what I was going to say? I do that a lot now. What was that? Wow. Yeah, I can't do two things, then I forget. Yeah. I'm sorry about this, that I do several things at once. That's very so unfocused. But it was something about it's gone. It's all of them, but sometimes it swoops back though. But when you think about something, you usually don't find what it was you forgot. It's when you let go of it, it comes back. So I should probably stop thinking about what it was then. Yeah, I will just stop. Maybe it won't come back. Maybe it's not important. But now I actually do remember. It was about mediums. Also, when people don't believe in these kind of things, and you try to describe or your experience or whatever, and that they are just totally. Maybe they listen, but they think, "Oh, you're such a fool," or "You're delusional." Is that the word? And whatnot. Why should you care to prove that to anyone? That's just so unimportant. But to them it seems like you should have that aim. I mean, that should be the most important thing in the world for you, to prove that to them who don't believe in that it's true. It's like that would be the purpose of your life, to show them that. But also there is one thing that bugs me when it comes to mediums also, when I know I'm ranting at everyone that I can think of, that I came across quite a lot lately. I think that's why I'm disturbed by it also. If it's just one time, then I probably wouldn't have thought about it all that much. But now I'm getting bugged because I've heard it so many times from very good mediums and psychics. They should, because they are dismissed by so many, then they should, but it's the same with kind of ASMR and others who judge other ASMRs who do it in a different way or whatnot. I mean, you think that then you would have a greater understanding for others, because you or what you do, that's judged also. But it seemed to be the other way around, that you kind of find someone else in your own field, let's say, or in whatever you are doing, that are doing it the wrong way, and they are not exactly as equally like, worthy to be called like ASMRers. I'm so angry. But now again to the mediums. Yeah, many of those who do that kind of work seem to have a need to put those down who work with cards, or even sometimes when it comes to sage, using sage or that to cleanse things. There are those who even, put down those kinds of things, or crystals or whatever, saying that I'm doing totally different thing than those. I'm not dressed in all those strange clothes and But really, what does that even have to do with anything? And also, those people, if they don't do that person, I mean, if it, I'm so angry. Oh, I'm so angry. No, but if they don't do that, those kind of mediums that look like, I don't know. Oh, now I kind of upset myself, Yeah, well, those kind of looking like I work at an office medium kind of types. What they would call a normal people. I'm like a normal people. I have this normal life doing those normal things that everyone does, and watch the whole kind of things that they watch on TV. And I'm, accept me, please. They're like screaming. And oh, I should do ASMR. I should speak softly about this though. and I mean, since they are judged for what they do, communicating with the spirits, I mean, okay, if you were into card readings and criticized it, or if you were into any kind of these things and then had some trouble with it, but to dismiss it and put it down as if it's I am doing something that is totally different from what they are doing. I mean, there are fraud people out there, and they can be dressed in whatever clothes. They can be looking like very normal or whatever. So that doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that you are more of a fraud if you look less as a fortune teller, honestly. But okay, maybe those with those bling signs, I don't know about those. But some things are just kind of obvious. But who knows? There may be a super great one in there. You never know. But anyways, when it comes to those kinds of things, if you state that you don't do that, how can you then say that it's so different? Some people tune in to communicate with spirit through cards, and many mediums actually do that also, although they are super professional and TV mediums or whatever, and great at readings, they still may use additional tools. So I find that disturbing, actually. Yeah, I really do. I think that's... Yeah, I shouldn't like go around just throwing stupid around always. But I mean, yeah, it really disturbs me. They think they are so much better than, and that these kinds of types who do those kinds of things, they are like not for real. They are just trying to fool people for their money, or they just try to make this clear distinction from that. I'm nothing like as whatsoever as that. But they are, because many who work with cards, and for example me, I'm not saying, yeah, I am saying I'm as professional, but I've not done some of the official works as some do, or so on, those who write love books or what they do. But I mean, I know from the confirmation I get that I'm good at it. So I mean, I communicate mostly without needing tools like the cards. But I'm not saying that those who do work with cards do it in a less good way. It's just that they pick up. Like I used to do psychometry, holding onto an object, and then it's easier for me to tune in. And sometimes that is kind of a tool, you can say. And some people use cards to get into that state of mind rather, and then they read, and so on. So I mean, and that should be kind of obvious if you knew anything. I'm sorry. God, I'm still like this. I hope this won't go on for every Thursday themes now. Huh. But that is disturbing to me, and it seems like when you have these gifts and do these kinds of things, I mean, you have to kind of understand that too, because it's not so obvious to people. But those who also do that themselves, that is what bothers me more. That they themselves put other people down who do the same kind of thing. It's one thing if there is a person that you know for whatever. I mean, if you have that experience, or know people who have had that experience with someone that really fool people, but that, as I said, it goes on in every kind of that have nothing to do with looks. That goes on in every area. So, and all kinds of work. It doesn't have to be these kinds of things. Okay, done with that little loud, ranty thing. Yeah, still. That surprised me. I think that also makes me angry, kind of. Or make me like... I expect more. I think that's the problem also. Sometimes when you get angry, you expect more from people. And they show themselves to be so small and, incapable of getting more. Gosh, I sound really, really condescending. I'm so sorry about that. Yes. I humbly ask for forgiveness now. I'm not. Ra. I'm going to Ra now because this is too hot out, and then I get too like on edge. Let's go to Ra. 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 Ancient Egyptian, or transliterated as never mind. I won't pronounce. I just skip those things, so when I read it sounds very strange, but yeah. Anyways, is the ancient Egyptian sun god by the 5th dynasty and the 25th and 24th centuries BC. He had become one of the most important gods in ancient Egyptian religion, identified primarily with the noon sun. Oh, also I have to jump into that mediumship thing again quickly, just saying that also when it comes to cards, that can also open up that. Even if you weren't a medium or worked with that before or had those connections, but within yourself or tuned into that and knew you had it, if you say. That can also lead to it if you work with that tool. That is kind of very well known, I think, by all who work magic, and there is a lot of people who work with that in various ways. That it opens, even I think maybe it's unavoidable even. If you work with it, you will open up. But if you then work with whatever tool as with the intent to fool people with it, then you of course will close yourself off and will not learn to pick up more. But that's another thing, right? In later Egyptian dynastic times, Ra was merged with the major state god Horus into Ra Horakhti. Ra, who is Horus of the two horizons. Wow. He was believed to rule in all parts of the created world, the sky, the earth, and the underworld. He was associated with the falcon, and many images of him showed him with the falcon's head. These images can be told apart from images of Horus due to having a sun disk on its head, instead of Horus as usual. How do you say that? Shent headdress. In the New Kingdom, when the god Amun rose to prominence, he was fused with Ra into Amun-Ra. During the Amarna period, Akhenaten suppressed the cult of Ra in favor of another solar deity, the Aten, and the deified solar disk. But after the death of Akhenaten, the cult of Ra was restored. And the cult of Mnevis Bull, an embodiment of Ra, had its center in Heliopolis, and there was a formal burial ground for the sacrificed bulls north of the city. All forms of lives were believed to have been created by Ra, who called each of them into existence by speaking their secret names. Alternatively, man was created from Ra's tears and sweat. Hence the Egyptians call themselves the cattle of Ra. In the myth of the celestial cow, it is recounted how mankind plotted against Ra and how he sent his eye as the goddess Sekhmet to punish them. When she became bloodthirsty, Ra pacified her by giving her beer mixed with red dye, which she drank in mistake for blood. We heard that before, I think. The Egyptians, to the Egyptians, the sun represented light, warmth, and growth. This made the sun deity very important, as the sun was seen as the ruler of all that he created. The sun disk was either seen as the body of or eye of Ra. Ra was the father of Shu and Tefnut, whom he created. Shu was the god of the wind, and Tefnut was the goddess of the rain. Sekhmet was the eye of Ra and was created by the fire of Ra's eye. She was a violent lioness who later turned into Hathor. Or maybe the other way around. First she was Hathor, and I think also, maybe. Anyways, I love them both. I guess I'm drawn to Sekhmet mostly, and maybe that's why I'm going to need to do a video soon about Sekhmet. Of all of these, Sekhmet is the one that I'm drawn to the most. Maybe because I'm so... I don't know. I like her. Ra was thought to travel in the Atet. Two solar barks called the Manjet. Oh, now I know why it's difficult to read. I don't have any glasses. Now I know. Better. Ra was thought to travel on the Atet. Did I read that already? The solar barks called the Manjet, the boat of millions of years, or morning boat, and the Mesektet, or evening boat. These boats took him on his journey through the sky and the Duat, the literal underworld of Egypt. While Ra was on the Mesektet, he was in his ram-headed form. When Ra traveled in his sunboat, he was accompanied by various other deities, including Sia, perception. think about this artist now. I kind of like her sometimes, some of her songs. Was an ancient Egyptian god, was the deification of perception in the Heliopotalan Ennead and Cosmology, probably equivalent to the intellectual energies of the heart of Ptah in the Memphite cosmogony. He also had a connection with writing and was often shown as well. So that was a main god, made deity, meaning perception anyway, and who command, as well as Heka, magic power. Sometimes members of the Ennead helped him on his journey, including Set, who overcame the serpent Apophis, and Mehen, who defended against the monsters of the underworld. When Ra was in the underworld, he would visit all of his various forms. Apophis, the god of chaos, was an enormous serpent who attempted to stop the sun's boat's journey every night by consuming it or by stopping it in its tracks with a hypnotic stare. During the evening, the Egyptians believed that Ra sat as Atum or in the form of a ram. The night boat would carry him through the underworld and back towards the east in preparation for his rebirth. These myths of Ra represented the sun rising as the rebirth of the sun by the sky goddess Nut, thus attributing the concept of rebirth and renewal to Ra and strengthening his role as a creator god as well. Apophis, I think you say it differently, but I say that, was born from Ra's umbilical cord, indicative of how evil in Egyptian religion is result of free will rather than a primordial force. When Ra was in the underworld, he merged with Osiris, the god of the dead, and through it became the god of the dead as well. Ra was worshipped as the creator god among some ancient Egyptians, but specifically followers of the cult of Heliopolis. It was believed that Ra wept, and from his tears came man. These cult followers believed that Ra was self-created, while for followers of Ptah believed that Ra was created by Ptah. Ptah. Yeah. In a message of the Book of the Dead, Ra cuts himself and his blood transforms into two intellectual personifications, Hu, or authority, or command, as I said, or Sia, or mind perception. Ha. Combination of them all. Ha. No, it's kidding. Ra is also accredited with the creation of the seasons, months, plants, and animals. Ra was represented in a variety of forms. The most usual form was a man with the head of a hawk and a solar disc on top and a coiled serpent around the disc. Other common forms are a man with the head of a beetle in his form as Capri, or a man with the head of a ram. Ra was also pictured as a full-bodied ram, beetle, phoenix, heron, serpent, bull, cat, or lion. Didn't it say bull already? No. Yeah. Cat or lion among others. He was most commonly featured with a ram's head in the underworld. In this form, Ra is described as being the ram of the west, or ram in charge of his harem. In some literature, Ra is described as an ancient king with golden flesh, silver bones, and hair of lapis lazuli. How beautiful. The chief cult center of Ra was Unu, the place of pillars, later known to the Greeks as Heliopolis, Sun City, and today located in the suburbs of Cairo. He was identified with the local sun god Atum. As Atum or Atum Ra, he was reckoned the first being and the originator of the Ennead, the Nine. We're talking about 9. right? Consisting of Shu and Tefnut, Geb and Keb, Nut, Osiris, Set, Isis, and Nephthys. Probably I should read about all this then. Yeah. Then I should read about Set and Nephthys. Actually, Shu and Tefnut, but I think I take them last, although they are like more the beginning. Atum Ra. Yeah. The holiday of the receiving of Ra was celebrated on May 26th in the Gregorian calendar. Right. His local cult began to grow from roughly the 2nd dynasty, establishing Ra as a sun deity. By the 4th dynasty, pharaohs were seen as Ra's manifestation on earth, referred to as sons of Ra. His worship increased massively in the 5th dynasty, when Ra became a state deity and the pharaohs had specially aligned pyramids, obelisks, and solar temples built in his honor. The rulers of the 5th dynasty told their followers that they were sons of Ra himself and the wife of the highest priest of Heliopolis. These pharaohs spent most of Egypt's money on sun temples. The first pyramid texts began to arise, giving Ra more and more significance in the journey of the pharaoh through the underworld. During the Middle Kingdom era, Ra was increasingly affiliated and combined with other chief deities, especially Amun and Osiris. At the time of the New Kingdom, the worship of Ra had become more complicated and grander. The walls of tombs were dedicated to extremely detailed texts that depicted Ra's journey through the underworld. Ra was said to carry the prayers and blessings of the living with the souls of the dead on the sunboat. The idea that Ra aged with the sun became more popular during the rise of the New Kingdom. Many acts of worship included hymns, prayers, and spells to help Ra on the sunboat overcome Apep. The rise of Christianity in the Roman Empire put an end to the worship of Ra by the citizens of Egypt, and Ra's popularity suddenly died out. The study of Ra became a purely academic interest, even among the Egyptian priests. Relationship to other gods. Gods merged with Ra. We'll see how long this is, though. Oh, it's just that, honestly. All right. Ra Hurakti. Yeah. As with most widely worshipped Egyptian deities, Ra's identity was often combined with other gods, forming an interconnection between deities. Amun and Amun-Ra. Amun was a member of the Ogdoad, representing creation energies, with Amaunet, a very early patron of Thebes. He was believed to create via breath. Do you say via? Via. Yeah. And thus was identified with the wind rather than the sun. As the cults of Amun and Ra became increasingly popular in Upper and Lower Egypt, respectively, they were combined to create Amun-Ra, a solar creator god. It is hard to distinguish exactly when the combination happened, but references to Amun-Ra appeared in pyramid texts as early as the 5th dynasty. The most common belief is that Amun-Ra was invented as a new state deity by the Theban rulers of the New Kingdom to unite worshippers of Amun with the older cult of Ra around the 18th dynasty. Amun-Ra was given the official title King of the Gods by worshippers, and images show the combined deity as a red-eyed man with a lion's head. that had a surrounding solar disk. And then Atum and Atumra. Atumra was another composite deity formed from two completely separate deities. However, Ra shared more similarities with Atum than with Amun. Atum was more closely linked with the sun and was also creator god of the Ennead. Both Ra and Atum were regarded as the father of the deities and the pharaohs and were widely worshipped. In older myths, Atum was the creator of Tefnut and Shu and was born from ocean Nun. Ra Hurakti. In later Egyptian mythology, Ra Hurakti was more of a title or manifestation than a composite deity. It translates as Ra, who is Horus or the horizons. It was intended to link Hurakti as a sunrise-oriented aspect of Horus to Ra. It has been suggested that Ra Hurakti simply refers to the sun's journey from horizon to horizon as Ra, or that it means to show that Ra as a symbolic deity of hope and rebirth. Khepri and Khnum. Khepri was a scarab beetle who rolled up the sun in the mornings and was sometimes seen as the morning manifestation of Ra. Similarly, the ram-headed god Khnum was also seen as the evening manifestation of Ra. The idea of different deities or different aspects of Ra ruling over different times of the day was fairly common but variable, with Khepri and Khnum taking precedence over sunrise and sunset. Ra often was the representation of midday when the sun reached its peak at noon. Sometimes different aspects of Horus were used instead of Ra's aspect. I'm a little bit not concentrated, but hope you understand what I read. Ra'et Tawi, how we would say it. Ra'et or Ra'et Tawi or Tawi was a female aspect of Ra. She did not have much importance independently of him. In some myths she was considered to be either Ra's wife or his daughter. Ra'et Tawi. Okay, gods created by Ra. If he was like everything, kind of, then they would be all, I guess. But yeah. It says here Bastet, Sekhmet, and Hathor. Interesting. So Bastet, also called Bast, is sometimes known as the cat of Ra. She is also his daughter and is associated with Ra's instrument of vengeance, the sun god's eye. Bastet is also known for decapitating the serpent Apophis, Ra's sworn enemy and the god of chaos, to protect Ra. In one myth, Ra sent Bastet on a lioness to Nubia. Sekhmet. Sekhmet is another daughter of Ra. Sekhmet was depicted as a lioness or large cat and was an eye of Ra, or an instrument of the sun god's vengeance. In one myth, Sekhmet was so filled with rage that Ra was forced to turn her into a cow so that she would not cause unnecessary harm. In another myth, Ra fears that mankind is plotting against him and sends Hathor, another daughter of Ra, to exterminate the human race. In the morning, Sekhmet goes to finish the job and drinks whatever appears to be blood. It turns out to be red beer, and she is too intoxicated to finish the slaughter. Hathor is another daughter of Ra. When Ra feared that mankind was plotting against him, he sent Hathor as an eye of Ra to exterminate the human race, later sending Sekhmet to finish the job. In one myth, Hathor danced naked in front of Ra until he laughed to cure him of a fit of sulking. So sweet. When Ra was without Hathor, he fell into a state of depression. Oh no. Okay, rival gods. Ptah, Isis, and Apep. Ptah is rarely mentioned in the literature of Old Kingdom pyramids. This is believed by some to be a result of the Ra-worshipping people of Heliopolis being the main writers of these inscriptions. Followers of Ra were known to be jealous of Ptah, while some believed that Ra is self-created. Others believed that Ptah created him, as it said before. Isis frequently schemed against Ra, as she wanted her son Horus to have the power. In one myth, Isis created a serpent to poison Ra and only gave him the antidote when he revealed his true name to her. Ra now feared Isis, as with his secret name revealed, she could use all her power against him and have Horus take over the throne. Apep, also called Apophis, I didn't actually know that was the same, was the god of chaos and Ra's greatest enemy. He was said to lie just below the horizon line, trying to devour Ra as Ra descended into the underworld. As he swallowed Ra, this led to the settling of the sun, and when he had completely swallowed Ra, this led to nighttime. He never succeeded in completely swallowing Ra, however, as he eventually spits Ra back out, causing the sun to rise. Yeah, I'm sorry I read so, first of all, loud and not well, but this was this. And I will come back with more of this next week and hopefully be focused and calm. Yeah. Myself, I can relax actually. Now I need to breathe. I can relax pretty well to even normal voice. It's the sounds rather, although I don't go very much into the sounds even now. But so let's see, the 9. It must be something about that, right? yeah, the 9. Here it is. I guess Set and Nephthys. I don't know a lot of Nephthys about her. We will see. It was Atum, Ra, and Shu, which is one of the primordial Egyptian gods, or a personification of air, spouse and counterpart of the goddess Tefnut, and one of the 9 deities of the Ennead of the Heliopolis cosmology. And Tefnut then is a goddess of moisture, moist and air, dew and rain in ancient Egyptian religion. She is the sister and consort of the air god Shu and the mother of Keb and Nut. And then those we already know, as I talked about before, and Osiris and Isis as well. And Set is a god of desert, storms, disorder, violence, and the foreigners in ancient Egyptian religion. In ancient Greek, the god's name is given as, Set has a positive role where he accompanies Ra on his solar boat to repel Apep, the serpent of chaos. And Nephthys, she's there, but isn't she very vague? Anyways, Nephthys or Neptet or Neberhet was a goddess in ancient Egyptian religion. A member of the great Ennead of Heliopolis in Egyptian mythology, was daughter of Nut and Keb. Nephthys was typically paired with her sister Isis in funerary rites. Should they protected, I guess, or so. We will check into her a little bit more. Let's see what we find out. Okay, so I guess if you know nothing, maybe you learn something, but these are obviously just basic things since I read from Wikipedia. Okay, breathing in, breathing out. Yeah, and I'm not for real upset. I just, when I talk about these things, there are things that meanwhile I kind of read it or hear it or so, and I think, what about certain things, and but I don't really, it's nothing that I go around being angry about like such. It's just, yeah, some thoughts. thoughts about certain things. Yeah. You can use your energy to much better things than going around being angry. Or at least then do something to cause change, maybe. But also to share, even consider things. I think so. Also, when it comes to certain things, like things that may be upsetting, it's not always the best thing to be quiet. I mean, sometimes people don't even think about it. It's just that they didn't think it through. So maybe then. So I think it's good. I think it's good with information, and that maybe you won't make the same choices or have the same way of viewing something anyways, but you at least have heard another side of seeing things or so on. And yeah, I think that can add to good, even if you share it when you're a little bit upset. Yeah. Oh, and I also will start. I was so inspired. I will start over doing yoga. I'm not sitting in this ego defeating position. I like that one. Strengthening the aura. No. Anyways, I watched some videos with Kundalini Yoga, and I just felt how much I long for it. I really, really miss that so much, so deeply. It doesn't look like much. That is a little bit like magical things if you see them on a video. It really, I'm sorry I drift now into something else, but I will end. But I just want to say this, that how you see it if you just would watch that is, what are they doing? Or even the chants. If you don't get into the chant and feel it, you can really, really wonder what's that about, in a not positive way. And but if you do it, oh, it's so lovely. It's so lovely. I love to do Kundalini Yoga. Oh, it's like inner massage. It's like it's the energy yoga, the awareness yoga. It's like I felt like cravings. Actually, I've been away from yoga for way too long. I've done certain tiny practices now and then, but it was so long ago since I did it every day, and I long for it. I mean, really, really, really. My whole system just like, oh, I want yoga. And as you can hear through my rants and all, I may also need it. It may be good to balance me to a more neutral state. There was I know several Kundalini Yoga teachers. One of them, Katarina, she talked about that. She's also an Ayurveda therapist, and she recommended that kind of to do some yoga practices that helps you to that neutrality, the mind that aren't chasing or running, but that are present and in equanimity, calm, neutral. That's lovely. Sometimes it's lovely to go into the activities as well, but to at least choose to maybe stay in that state meanwhile you are active and so on. That's lovely though. But anyway, it's just a practice, just feeling, it's I can't even describe what it does to you. It's amazing. So, if you haven't tried Kundalini Yoga, I so much recommend that to anyone. And it may not be for everyone. Not everyone would love it, I'm sure. But personally, it's heavenly. It's heaven. I think I would love any kind of yoga, but that's my all-time favorite, even though I haven't tried all there is. I'm sure no yoga would top that for me. Okay, talk soon. Thanks for being patient with me and listening, although I read crappy sometimes. I will try to be better, hopefully. Talk so much love.